Top 96 Friedrich Nietzsche quotes. He who possesseth little is so much the less possessed. Blessed be moderate poverty. A subject for a great poet would be God's boredom after the seventh day of creation. The desire to annoy no one, to harm no one, can equally well be the sign of a just as of an anxious disposition. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. Enjoy life. This is not a dress rehearsal. My formula for greatness in a human being is a more fatty, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it. All idealism is mendaciousness in the face of what is necessary, but love it. No artist tolerates reality. There will always be rocks in the road ahead of us. They will be stumbling blocks or stepping stones. It all depends on how you use them. The tree that would grow to heaven must send its roots to hell. My formula for greatness in a human being is a more fatty, that one wants nothing to be other than it is, not in the future, not in the past, not in all eternity. Become who you are. Make what only you can make. What is good? All that heightens the feeling of power, the will to power, power itself. What is bad? All that is born of weakness. What is happiness? The feeling that power is growing, that resistance is overcome. Today, as always, men fall into two groups, slaves and free men. Whoever does not have 2/3 of his day for himself is a slave, whatever he may be, a statesman, a businessman, an official, or a scholar. Everything matters. Nothing's important. Nobody is more inferior than those who insist on being equal. My solitude doesn't depend on the presence or absence of people. On the contrary, I hate who steals my solitude without, in exchange, offering me true company. I was in darkness, but I took 3 steps and found myself in paradise. The first step was a good thought, the second, a good word, and the third, a good deed. On the mountains of truth you can never climb in vain. Either you will reach a point higher up today, or you will be training your powers so that you will be able to climb higher tomorrow. There are no beautiful surfaces without a terrible depth. Life is the will to power, our natural desire to dominate and reshape the world to fit our own preferences and assert our personal strength to the fullest degree. No one can construct for you the bridge upon which precisely you must cross the stream of life, no one but you yourself alone. Few are made for independence, it is the privilege of the strong. All great men are play actors of their own ideal. Was that life? Well then, once more. They muddy the water to make it seem deep. I teach you the overman. Man is something which shall be surpassed. Do you want to have an easy life? Then always stay with the herd and lose yourself in the herd. Whoever has not 2/3 of his time to himself is a slave. The doer alone learneth. Everything the state says is a lie, and everything it has stolen. My humanity is a constant self-overcoming. Plato was a bore. The essence of all beautiful art, all great art, is gratitude. From which stars have we fallen to meet each other here? To live alone one must be a beast or a god, says Aristotle. Leaving out the third case, one must be both, a philosopher. Call me whatever you like, I am who I must be. One must be a sea to receive a polluted stream without becoming impure. Love your enemies because they bring out the best in you. Society tames the wolf into a dog. And man is the most domesticated animal of all. Of all evil I deem you capable, therefore I want good from you. Verily, I have often laughed at the weaklings who thought themselves good because they had no claws. Live dangerously. Build your cities on the slopes of Vesuvius. The most intelligent men, like the strongest, find their happiness where others would find only disaster, in the labyrinth. In being hard with themselves and with others, in effort, their delight is self-mastery. In them asceticism becomes second nature, a necessity, as instinct. What makes us heroic? Confronting simultaneously our supreme suffering and our supreme hope. If you look long enough into the void begins to look back through you. What is evil, whatever springs from weakness? I notice that autumn is more the season of the soul than of nature. The secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously. Liberalism is the transformation of mankind into cattle. But what if pleasure and pain should be so closely connected that he who wants the greatest possible amount of the one must also have the greatest possible amount of the other, that he who wants to experience the heavenly high jubilation must also be ready to be sorrowful unto death? A politician divides mankind into two classes, tools and enemies. I am really very tired of everything, more than tired. The real world is much smaller than the imaginary. But he who is hated by the people, as the wolf by the dogs, is the free spirit, the enemy of fetters, the non-adorer, the dweller in the woods. The future influences the present just as much as the past. Ultimately, it is the desire, not the desired, that we love. Yes, life is a woman. He who cannot command himself should obey. And many can command themselves, but much is still lacking before they can obey themselves. I overcame myself, the sufferer. I carried my own ashes to the mountains. I invented a brighter flame for myself. The most fundamental form of human stupidity is forgetting what we were trying to do in the first place. Be careful who you choose as your enemy, because that's who you become most like. Art is the highest task and the proper metaphysical activity of this life. The higher man is distinguished from the lower by his fearlessness and his readiness to challenge misfortune. The discipline of suffering, of great suffering, do you not know that it is this discipline alone that has produced all the elevations of humanity so far? The thought of suicide is a great consolation. By means of it one gets through many a dark night. Man is a rope stretched between the animal and the Superman, a rope over an abyss. A dangerous crossing, a dangerous wayfaring, a dangerous looking back, a dangerous trembling and halting. In loneliness, the lonely one eats himself. In a crowd, the many eat him. Now choose. Those you cannot teach to fly, teach to fall faster. But it is the same with man as with the tree. The more he seeks to rise into the height and light, the more vigorously do his roots struggle earthward, downward, into the dark, the deep, into evil. By losing your goal, you have lost your way. For a tree to become tall, it must grow tough roots among the rocks. We are so fond of being out among nature because it has no opinions about us. There's no defense against stupidity. To those human beings who are of any concern to me, I wish suffering, desolation, sickness, ill-treatment, indignities, profound self-contempt, the torture of self-mistrust, and the wretchedness of the vanquished. This world is the will to power and nothing besides. A life without music is an error. The snake that cannot shed its skin perishes. Be careful when you fight the monsters, lest you become one. You who hate the Jews so, why did you adopt their religion? Convictions are more dangerous foes of truth than lies. Never trust a thought that didn't come by walking. In revenge and in love, woman is more barbarous than man. The greater the obstacle, the more glory in overcoming it. What does not destroy makes me stronger. In every real man a child is hidden that wants to play. When you look into an abyss, the abyss also looks into you. We often refuse to accept an idea merely because the tone of voice in which it has been expressed is unsympathetic to us. Here the ways of men divide. If you wish to strive for peace of soul and happiness, then believe. If you wish to be a disciple of truth, then inquire. We love life, not because we are used to living, but because we are used to loving. A living being seeks, above all, to discharge its strength. Life is will to power. The essential thing in heaven and earth is that there should be a long obedience in the same direction. There thereby results, and has always resulted in the long run, something which has made life worth living. The world is beautiful, but has a disease called man. The great end of art is to strike the imagination with the power of a soul that refuses to admit defeat, even in the midst of a collapsing world. Dancing in all its forms cannot be excluded from the curriculum of all noble education. Dancing with the feet, with ideas, with words, and, need I add that one must also be able to dance with the pen? Life is that which must overcome itself again and again. Man makes God in his own image. You know a moment is important when it is making your mind go numb with beauty. Solitude makes us tougher towards ourselves and tenderer towards others. In both ways it improves our character. It is impossible to suffer without making someone pay for it. Every complaint already contains revenge. Egoism is the very essence of a noble soul. Strength is the morality of the man who stands out from the rest, and it is mine.